Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at something quite special. It's a new light from Wuben. It's the L1 flashlight and it's brand new. Reminds me a little bit of the X3 prototype, and this is why. It's got a rotatable head. Isn't that amazing? So it does draw some inspiration from the X series, and it's something unique that you don't see on most flashlights out there. Allows you to select between two different beams. You've got a spot beam or a long distance beam there and a flood beam here. So it's definitely the best of both worlds and really unique. So I'm just going to show you what you get in the box. Obviously you get the light itself. Comes with a 21700 cell, Wuben branded 21700 cell, 4800 milliamp hours. It's a button top. It's a protected cell too, and you also get this very nice holster. Love the quality of it. And you get a lanyard. You also get some spare O-rings, and you get a USB-C Type-C charging cable in there as well. Just to show you a little bit, to show you the holster. Really quite impressed with it. And with the light inside as well, fits like a glove. So this is the box that it comes in. Pretty simple, minimalistic. Good to see that Wuben also do a 5-year warranty on this flashlight. You do have to register it online first. Here are some of the specifications if you want to pause the video and have a look. Over here, you've got an instruction manual, basic instruction manual. Here are a bunch of other Wuben flashlights that I have, and you've got the Wuben L1 here, as you can see, next to the C2, which is probably the most similar in terms of size. The L1 is a little less chunky though, especially around the head and around the battery tube down the base. Got the L50 here, and like I was mentioning before, this is the X3, and it also has this rotatable head. So interesting that Wuben are now starting to implement this kind of design in the L1, possibly in future flashlights, and also taking a leaf out of the X0 with this kind of round TIR lens in there as well. Okay, so quite an effective lens because you get a 180-degree beam, lots of flood, and also a defined hotspot in the center. All right, so here's a closer up of the L1, and you can see some good quality machining there. Smooth black anodizing, a little slippery. Reminds me a bit of the C2's anodizing, the C3 as well. I like the look of the light. Has some interesting cutouts, especially on the head, the side. It's got this kind of industrial angular design. Definitely looks a bit different from my other lights, like I mentioned. Takes some inspiration from that angular X0, the head of it. You've got this TIR lens here for the flood beam. Mine came with the high CRI Nichia 519A. It's an interesting TIR lens because there is a kind of reflector in the back of it as well. It's kind of a reflector / TIR lens put together. Okay. And on top of the flashlight here, you've got the SST40 paired with a smooth reflector for maximum throw. This is meant to be the throwy beam here. So you got this throw and flood both in one. Rotating the head's very simple, smooth as well. What you do is just rotate it that way. Okay. Oops. Quite satisfying, actually. I also like that you can use both of these LEDs at the same time too. I'll demonstrate that later. So you can have the flood beam facing the ground, this one here, and the throw beam ahead of you. And yeah, nice little cutouts here for heat sinking. Don't know if you'd put a tritium vial or something like that in there. Be a pretty big one. But there are 2 buttons here in the back of the flashlight. So you can see here, that one is for the throw beam. Okay, and that one here is for the flood beam. You've also got onboard charging here, just USB-C charging. quite a firm port as well. It takes you a little bit to push it back in. And the great thing about Wuben is that they come with everything you need for the light. So you've got the battery, you've got the charger, you've got the holster, you've got spare O-rings, you've got lanyard. Another cool thing is that you also get a magnet in the tail cap. You can take that out if you want, but it's great if you want to hold the light like that or on the side. Just a bit of metal is a little bit thin, but if you've got something like a desk or side of a car, it's going to stick there very, very easily. So you can use it as a work light, hands-free light. If you look closer, there's a nice, really grippy sort of finish on the tail cap. I like that, and I just wonder why they didn't use it on the side here as well. Would it be nice to have a bit of extra grip? Okay, so we're going to go through the UI. So let's firstly start with this side LED, the flood LED, okay, with the TIR lens. So basically it's that bottom button. You press that bottom button, turns on, single press basically on off. If you double press, it doesn't do anything, just turns it on and off. But once the flashlight is on, you press and hold and you cycle through. So low, medium, high. Okay. That's pretty much it. There's no moonlight mode. Okay. But it does memorize the last mode that you used. This top switch activates the throwy beam with the SST40. So you basically turn on, you can press and hold, or you can just switch on with one click. Press and hold. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, low, medium, high. Okay, and then double press to access turbo. You can also access turbo from the off position, so just double press like that. Strobe, 3 presses, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and if you click 3 times again, you can get a hidden SOS mode in there. With the throwy LED on, you can turn on the bottom LED as well and swap between like a low and high mode of the side LED. Okay. One thing I noticed as well is that it doesn't really get hot further down the battery tube. Really gets hot in the head, but it doesn't get hot down the side, so it's very comfortable to hold. I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests, and you can see here I'm using the flood LED on the highest setting, so setting 3, and it steps down pretty much immediately, and you've got access to about 30% of its output, just a bit lower than 30% of its output. I tried on the second mode, so medium, and you can see it basically is on 100%, goes down to about 90% and holds the output on 90%. So that's good. You got some sustained performance at least on medium. I ran the test for 30 minutes and didn't have any fluctuations past 90%. So here's a third ceiling bounce test that I ran with the throw beam, the SST40 on turbo. You can see immediately the light steps down, and at the 1 minute mark, you're basically less than 20% of the output. Around 6 minutes, just after 6 minutes, I activated turbo again. Okay, spikes and heads down pretty much immediately. So something to keep in mind. It does step down significantly on turbo. Here's another ceiling bounce test with the SST40 thrower beam on high, so the third mode, and same sort of deal there. The light ramps down to about 20-25% of its output. I ran that test past 10 minutes. So yeah, I think it has something to do with the heat dissipation. Obviously with this rotating head, there's limited possibility there for heat sinking. Both of the beams that the L1 produces are quite unique. With this side floody beam, it's high CRI. If you end up choosing the 519A LED option, it's more of a floody beam, but with a large centralized hotspot. It's not as bright as the SST40 here on top, but the SST40 will give you a decent amount of throw, quite a lot more than this side LED here. And you're also going to have a significantly brighter beam profile as well. So some considerations you might want to be aware of. I thought it would have been nice to have an SFT40 emitter option, kind of like how they've allowed you to choose between a P9 and a 519A for that side LED. If you could choose between an SFT40 in there, that would be great for some increased range. But yeah, given the limited heat sinking capability of this head. I think that's why they probably have went with the SST40, because it produces more light. You don't have to run it as hot, and it is pretty capable as well. A second thing to be aware of, and I did mention this before, is that the light steps down immediately, and you can see that same pattern in the Wuben X3 as there's less heat sinking available in that rotatable head. It doesn't seem to be able to transfer heat too well into the body, so I think it is a good thing that the L1 steps down fast. Another consideration is that these buttons on the back here are quite easily pressed. Okay, so if you're going to stick this in your pocket, make sure that you unscrew the bottom part of the flashlight, and you're not going to have any issues there. Overall, I think the L1 is versatile. It's very unique. Suits anyone if you're looking for a general purpose flashlight with long run times, because you've got that included 21700 cell. When you're buying any flashlight, I know there's always a trade-off between flood and throw, but with the Wuben L1, lets you have both in a reasonably affordable kit. So if you have any other questions, just let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you, answer your questions. And while you're here, do me a favor and click that like button, because it helps me to get the video out to more people. If you like my videos, you want to see me make more of them, make sure you subscribe. Okay, I've got the Wuben L1, and I'll put it on the spot beam first, the throw beam. Okay, that is pretty bright, but let's go from low, medium, high, low, medium, high, double press, and that is turbo. Wow, look at that. Some decent throw. And the light does ramp down, step down. I keep saying ramp down, but I mean to say step down. Whatever, same thing. I'll step down pretty quickly. Can reactivate it at turbo again. Can you see? Marginally brighter. So that's the good thing about it. It does step down quickly because there's a smaller head in there that's shifting that heat around. You can turn it off, get another couple of seconds use. Low, can't really see low, maybe here on the ground. Medium. Medium is more than enough really for general use. Even the low is pretty decent as well. That's high. Turbo. Quite easily making those trees at the back. Okay. Smooth reflector with the ST20 does the job. Okay, I'm going to swap over to the secondary LED now, which is the swapping over to the second LED in the Chia 519A. Okay, low is just not visible. Medium, yeah, sort of. I can't really see it on camera, it's very difficult. High, yeah, there we go. So there's your high, and look, it's got a large hotspot, as you can see in the center of the beam, large center hotspot. But the great thing about this beam as well is that it's got a 180 degree profile, so really you can see into your peripherals. Makes it very easy to know what's going on around you. It does step down though. So the second mode I think doesn't step down. Let's have a look. 1, 2, yeah, this mode doesn't step down. The third mode, this does step down. Okay, you can even have both on at the same time. So let's swap over to the throwy LED like that, and then here on the ground I've got the flood. I'll go over a walk to show you what it sort of looks like. Wuben L1. This is on the spot beam. Swapping now over to the other beam, the flood beam. You can see 2, 3, that's the third mode. And, you know, lots of spill. But it's still got some decent range. You can see on this, right to the end of that path, maybe another 20 meters or so. But it does start to ramp down, as you can see. You can reactivate it and turn it on and off. You get a bit more runtime on that turbo. The third mode anyway. This will make a really good walking light. Just clip it onto the front of your pocket. You can just use the lower modes.